Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to our live today. My name is Kathy Merkel-Roddy, and I just wanted to come on today and have a little chat with you about some stuff that could be contributing to your chronic illness, your spasmodic dysphonia in particular in this group, but this that can also pertain to other conditions as well. So I like to call the things I'm going to talk about today are the 5 Ps that are potentially holding you back in your healing journey. So, by the 5 Ps, I mean personality traits that we often adopt, sometimes under dire circumstances as a trauma response and that sort of thing. So we develop these personality traits in order to avoid conflict as children, sometimes to avoid some bad circumstances if we grew up in a rough household or whatever. So they're coping mechanisms, but we oftentimes adopt them and then carry them on into our, adult life. And the problem is that the things that helped us survive as kids or during a very traumatic or stressful period of our lives are not necessarily the same things that are going to help us thrive and actually live life to its fullest. So, my daughter's calling me in the middle of this, so of course that's always the way. So my name's Kathy. I just mentioned that, and then I just want to let you know that's Luna in the background meowing because she's a very vocal kitty. She likes to sing a tune. So anyway, I suffered with spasmodic dysphonia for about 3 years. My health and my voice went over a cliff all at once in 2018, July, and I suddenly developed an inability to, I was scrambling, and I was lucky enough to only be really searching for about 4 months before I hit upon a gold mine of information, which I ultimately used to heal my voice. So that is really remarkable that I found it so quickly. I know many people in this group have been suffering for years and years and years. I guess I'm just one of those kind of quirky people who are not willing to just listen to the doctor all the time. I had kind of an aversion to doctors, and I was a little bit unimpressed with what they offered me most of the time. And then in particular, when I was really sick and suffering with spasmodic dysphonia, I did not buy into their idea of what I should be doing. I did not think putting more toxins into my body with Botox was my avenue. So I searched alternative stuff, and it all came on at once. So I knew maybe I could reverse it all at once too. And so I pursued that, and it took me about 2.5 years, but I did finally recover my normal speaking and singing voice. And now I'm just teaching you all my tricks. I'm teaching you guys everything that I learned along the way. I had nobody leading me. So I feel so honored that I can be that person for you guys. So that's just a little backstory. And I just, for newcomers, I know some of you guys have heard my background before, but I know there's always new people joining the group every day. So, I want to make sure that everybody's up to speed. And they're like, who is this gal? Why should I listen to her? And so anyway, so I was going to talk about the 5 Ps. So the personality traits that I'm talking about are, number 1, people pleasing. Number 2, perfectionist. Number 3, popper, which is another way. I had to make it with a P. So, but that scarcity mentality, that coming from a feeling of lack rather than a feeling of abundance is what I mean by popper. Then again, all of these I fell into. So I'm preaching, from the choir. I was fully guilty of all of these things. So party girl is my next, or party boy. You like to be the life of the party. You don't want to make waves, and you're, going along with some habits and some things just to kind of fit into the crowd because, we want to be accepted. We're tribal beings, and it's in our DNA to want to be accepted. And so, and then the 5th one is the producer. or the person who's like gotta always be, maximum productivity. I was always a human doing instead of a human being my whole life, and I thought naps were, a waste of time and not, being my full potential, so to speak. Pardon me. Cheers with my lemon water. Hope you guys are amping up your hydration game too. So why are these personality traits a problem? Because they help us get along in society, right? They help us be well liked, and they help us get accolades for our attention to detail. They help us, always have a long list of accomplishments attached to our name. So why am I saying that these are detrimental traits to have as we're trying to thrive and learn to heal our bodies? Well, I will tell you why. First and foremost, all of these in one way, shape, or form are not truly listening to what we need. First and foremost, we're not keyed into our true needs and what it is that our body is begging us for. So in the people-pleasing frame, let's just start there. Of course, we put the needs of others ahead of ours. So when we're dead tired and someone's asking something of us, or we've said yes to something, instead of just honoring where we are at that moment and saying, look, I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to reschedule, or I'm going to have to, catch you on the next one because I'm not going to be able to make it. We're afraid of disappointing people. And so instead of listening to our own bodies and our own needs, we go ahead and push through. So when we do that, we have to release adrenaline. And I'm going to talk a lot about adrenaline because adrenaline is the enemy to our nerves repairing themselves, basically. So we want to start being super conscious of situations that put us in a high adrenaline state. We're going to learn to kind of keep that a little bit calmer because we want to always be in the calmest, most peaceful healing state that we can. Our body heals when we're in the parasympathetic nervous system, not the sympathetic. So when we're in fight or flight, and I honestly think that spasmodic dysphonia is a poster child for being stuck in fight or flight, because literally we're in that bad dream where we can't scream or yell. We're just like paralyzed and from the throat. You know what I mean? So we are literally stuck in fight or flight. So we have to find workarounds to have our adrenals calm down, so then in turn our nervous system can calm down and our nerves can repair themselves. So as a people pleaser, we are not listening to ourselves. We are producing adrenaline to push through situations when we shouldn't be. And then then we're depleted also. Our energy is not being focused where it needs to be focused, which is on our own healing. I'm here to tell you that boundaries and also putting yourself at the top of your to-do list is going to have to be kind of your new modus operandi for a little while, at least, as you're healing, because you're going to be taking on a lot of new ideas, new habits, new behaviors that you're going to have to learn to kind of integrate into your daily life and into social settings and all that good stuff. I often recommend to the people that work with me, have a conversation when you're starting on this journey for the first time. Have a conversation with those loved ones around you that see you most often, that have a certain expectation of what they expect from you, and just kind of bring them into your plan for healing yourself, and just say, please, I'm asking you for a little extra grace. I'm asking you to understand that it's not anything personal about you, but I can't always come out now. I need to, maybe we need to pick a different meeting spot. If you used to hit the bar and the restaurant with the temptations of the foods that you're really not supposed to be eating, suggest a picnic or something where everybody can bring their own food, or like a potluck where you can bring a dish where you can eat it. They have their food, they're happy, you're happy, everybody's fed, and it's really about being together. Anyway, it's not about the food, but oh gosh, our society is built around breaking bread together. It's just a fact of life. So that is part of our challenge here when we're embarking on our healing journey, and we're starting to eliminate the foods that are detrimental to our healing and starting to incorporate the new fruits and vegetables that, oh, that's so novel. Like, everybody treats you like you're such a weirdo because you're eating fruits and vegetables. That's what we're supposed to be eating. So it's just funny because they can eat all the processed stuff that they want and nobody says a word. But then the minute you start eating fruits and vegetables, people are like, that is weird. It's very backwards. So anywho, I digress. So that is one of the personality traits that, you know, might not be our highest, you know, like, attribute. So maybe we can just like amend our people pleaser identity and maybe elevate it to a person who's learning to have boundaries. Instead of seeing yourself, I'm such a people pleaser, and I still catch myself. I have to still ask myself daily, is this serving me when I'm saying yes? Is it truly what I want to do? Is it truly serving me? And so, you know, you just might have to learn the word no a little more than you previously knew it or used it. Another one, personality trait that I want to kind of touch upon too is perfectionist personality. So I don't know about you guys, but I was always like lived in constant fear of making a mistake. Like, it was high stakes. If I made a mistake, if I turned down the wrong street going on a thing and I drove an extra 5 minutes out of the way, you know, oh my God, like, oh, big deal, right? It's, when you look at it from 30,000 feet, it's so silly. But like, I did have like this kind of hang up. I needed everything to be very efficient in the most efficient way. And I'm constantly looking, but see, that's your survival brain is kicked on there. And that's keeping you in that adrenalized state. We definitely want to just find ways to unwind that survival brain and say, you know what? For the next 6 months, let's just say, I give myself permission to be kind of messy. I give myself permission to make mistakes, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to just laugh and say, yep, I'm human. That's it. And try new things. Try things that you know you can't be perfect at yet because you're just giving them a chance. All of these healing protocols that I'm talking about all the time, that's a fine example of that. You might not do it perfectly to begin with. You might have a couple days of stumbling along the way, and that's okay. That's what we do. We're learning something new. You know, when a toddler's learning to walk, you don't just go, oh, you know, take 2 steps and you fell down. You're not a walker. That's, you know, too bad for that. And we treat ourselves that way. We don't allow ourselves to be students of the world and just take on new challenges that are going to elevate our who we are and how we feel in every aspect of our lives. So the perfectionist is actually, you think that, oh gosh, that's an attention to detail that everybody aspires to, but honestly, it's not as lofty as you might think because it keeps us in a box where we're afraid to step out of it and we're afraid to move forward into an unknown, uncertain zone. And we want to definitely, you know, give ourselves some room to color outside the lines and expand who we've been previously, because who we've been previously is what got us sick to begin with. We need to be a new person to get ourselves out of this mess. So we're going to evolve and we're going to change. We're going to start seeing ourselves differently, and we're going to take on the habits that reflect that. And then we are going to have a new manifestation of our true selves, of our full command of our whole bodies and our vitality and all the things that our God-given right is to have on this earth. That, you know, if it weren't for the toxins and the traumas that we encounter, we would be those people. So we just have to reclaim it back to ourselves, and we can do this. So the third P is the pauper mentality. And that is the scarcity, the lack, oh, my glass is half empty. okay, yeah, I got a windfall of money now, but oh gosh, it's a rainy day tomorrow. I just know it, that whole thing. I was truly afraid to let myself fully feel joy and fully feel gratitude, because I was always kind of had this thing in my mind where I was afraid it would get snatched away. Like if I truly felt it and truly embodied that feeling, like, yes, it is, I deserve it, it is mine, I claim it. Instead of letting myself do that, my heart wall was closed, and I wouldn't feel anything. I would feel sort of numb about it. Like I would be like, yes, I know I'm supposed to be happy about this, but then in the back of my mind, I'm like, but it's probably not going to last, or whatever. That was kind of running in the back of my mind always. Going to the worst case scenario all the time, like troubleshooting, problem solving, gaming the worst case scenario in every like endeavor that I was taking, instead of like concentrating on what could go right and what is going right. I mean, like, I'm sure all of you right now are sitting in a perfectly comfortable chair. You guys are having a lovely Sunday. You probably have plenty of food in your belly and water to drink and air to breathe and sunshine to soak up, or whatever, whatever time it is for you. So we have all of our needs being met. We don't need to be on alert thinking the shoe is going to drop all the time. And so that is another trauma response that I got into, like it stems from childhood, but then I carried it into my adulthood and made it part of my regular circulation of thoughts and things that I got kind of caught into. So the universe is abundant. Honestly, it is up to us to learn to vibrate with the highest vibration that we can vibrate on, and align with the abundance that is there, and start noticing that and being thankful for the things that are going right. Because that's a clue. When we see everything else, when you look at your body and your lungs are breathing on their own, your heart is beating on its own, your brain is able to process information and learn new things all the time, and you're able to just adapt in so many ways every day, that to me is beautiful proof that our bodies know what to do. They know how to heal, they know how to repair themselves, they know what's supposed to be going on in there. So it's just up to us to give our bodies the tools, the building blocks that they need in order to heal, in order to begin to detoxify the bad stuff out, begin to calm down. So it's like, all of it together is a big bundle of whatever we're making of it. So we can make it something positive, or we can make it a big bundle of crap that we are not happy about. So this is just how we have to start rewiring our brain to notice the good stuff. We have to just start focusing on what is going right and get out of that pauper mentality. Okay, so the next one is the party girl. And I think I started talking about that, but so we want to be accepted. We want to be, part of the fun crowd, the cool kids, right? That's like how I always thought of it, dating back from like high school. Oh, the cool kids are, out having a party, and I want to be included in that. And so, I know for my own self, when my health started kind of declining, before the dramatic over the cliff, I was developing some symptoms, some things that came along. And so I was caught in that party thing. I was, I was a professional entertainer for over 30 years, and we would have some beverages at work, hanging with the band, or the people would buy us drinks. And so that was sort of a regular thing. And then I had all my buddies that I loved, to my neighbors, or we'd sit and have wine together, and, just have, many occasions where I was sort of just kind of falling into that a lot more than I should have been. And I knew it wasn't good for me, but, you're just in this kind of denial thing. Like, you don't, and nobody really connects the dots for you. Like the doctors don't say, yeah, your spasmodic dysphonia probably would get better if you didn't drink anymore. They're not going to say that because they want you to keep coming back there, frankly. Anyway, I'm not going to hate on doctors, but they really have their own agenda, and sometimes it's not for your best interest in the long run. So being the party girl, and then the last one on the list is to be the producer, to feel like you always had to produce, and every day, no matter what your condition is. If you're sick, too bad, got to keep going, the show must go on. That was always my mantra, for years and years. And unfortunately, I went on way more times than I should have done, when I was in no condition to do so. Honestly, when I was afraid of letting people down or calling in sick or whatever, I didn't honor myself, and I didn't let myself rest the way I should have. So I didn't want to admit that I had a weakness, that I had some symptoms coming on. I was getting some fatigue symptoms and stuff coming on way before my health went over a cliff, but I was just ignoring it. I was using caffeine. That's another one that we use to prop ourselves up, because the caffeine gives you the instant fix of a little energy. And if you're feeling a little bit run down, that's like you feel like a new person. You've just had some caffeine, so you can get another hour or two until you crash. And then, you're thinking, everybody in the world drinks coffee. How bad can that be? Not realizing that when we have a chronic illness, our adrenal glands are not able to handle the stress of the coffee. The coffee puts undue stress on our adrenal glands, similar to the alcohol putting stress on our liver and our adrenal glands. And so, and our immune system for that matter. Anyway, all of this kind of works together. And so we just have to kind of start noticing what are our tendencies, getting in touch with who we are, starting a journal practice. If you're not a big journaler, it might be a good idea just to pick up a notebook. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a spiral notebook, and just start delving into who you really are and who do you want to be, more importantly, because you have to have your eye on the destination. Otherwise, you're never going to get there. So we have to get super clear about what it is that we want to do. Every morning before your feet hit the floor, take a moment to say, who do I want to be in the world today? What is my main heart's desire for today? And for me, for 3 years solid, my heart's desire was to recover my voice. So I did everything in my power to do that. I actually released all of these, I would say, but for the most part, I released those personality traits, and I had to become someone new. Now, I will admit the perfectionist did kind of creep into my new protocols, and I got a little overboard with doing everything just so, which I don't try and recommend for the people I work with, because I think that we can get caught in a trap with that. And then it becomes, it's still that feeling of unworthy and not good enough that is dictating then our, I'm doing more celery juice. I'm doing, 3 juices a day. I'm doing all this stuff. So, and it's fine, well and good to do that for a little while if you want to do it, but to feel like your identity and your self-worth depends on it, or that your healing depends on doing A, B, C, and D all the time. Now, I will say that I do think that we have to be strict with ourselves for a period of time while we're healing, while we're super duper focused on healing. I was pretty strict for, I would say, 2.5 years. Yeah. Maybe even 3 years. And then I started kind of loosening the reins on myself a little bit. So I still don't eat like all of the troublemaker foods that are listed, but I don't stress out about it as much. Like I let myself have, the clean junk, if you will, here and there. Whereas when I was healing, I did for a period of time kind of cut all of that stuff out, and I was pretty steadfast with my healing. So it's one of those things where just becoming aware of who we've been up to now and who do we want to be. Just spending a little time with ourselves and just adjusting to our personalities or personas just a little bit. So instead of the pleaser, maybe I'm learning. I'm a recovering pleaser who's learning to have boundaries. As a perfectionist, I'm still someone who has high standards, but I also allow myself to make mistakes and allow that for other people too. I don't get upset about that. You know, for other people, they make a mistake. We're human beings. And guess what? Feeling bad about any of these things that we're talking about, feeling bad about it emotionally is one of the worst things that we can do. So when we let ourselves spiral down emotionally, that is one of the things that we want to avoid. So how can we kind of shift things around in our minds so that we don't feel bad all the time? Because the perfectionist thing pretty much makes you feel bad all the time. You're just constantly comparing yourself to other people or to whatever, some high standard that you dreamed up. And so let's think of standards that make us feel good. Like, hey, I am learning and growing. I am trying something new. I am endeavoring to heal myself where, you know, I'm doing some things that most people are not willing to do. I'm making dietary changes. I'm making, you know, some relationship changes, the way I deal with all my relationships. So it's important because as we're just elevating our former personas into some new ones, it's good to just be aware because we're just looking to make a 1% change a day. It doesn't have to be drastic. We're just moving in the right direction. We just want to get there eventually. It's not a race. We're just going little by little. And we're going to, you know, with the popper mentality, today I'm just going to say, when one of those scary thoughts comes into my mind, I'm just going to say, what if it all works out? What if it all works out? Okay, I can get on board with that. It's not like I'm fooling myself and saying it's definitely working out. I'm like, you know, I'm for sure. But like, let's just open the door a crack for the possibility that it could. And those good feelings kind of come along with that. When you feel like, when I start thinking of a situation I'm kind of worried about, and I think, well, what if it all works out? And I picture that outcome of it working out. I'm like, suddenly I'm filled with this like great feeling. And so that's what we want to create more for ourselves, because we are the only ones who can do that for ourselves. We can't rely on other people. We can't be subject to the whims of others and how their energy and everything is being managed. We just have to manage our own. That's all we can do in this world. And that's another thing that comes with the perfectionist, is that control thing that I have to, you know, rein in all the time and tell Captain Kathy to take a little rest in the back seat because, you know, what if it all works out? And it doesn't have to be my way. Am I the expert? Do I know everything? No, I don't. So I'm trying to allow for other possibilities and other people's ideas instead of just feeling I have to control everything so drastically and so, you know, so tightly. So, anyway, you guys have any questions or any comments? I'm gonna try. I've never been very good about this, like finding the comments while I am talking. But you can do me a favor if you want to just comment live or replay. If you see this on the live, comment live. If you're on the replay, comment replay. Oh, and I definitely want to tell you about my masterclass that I'm doing again on this coming Saturday on the April 27th. That's right, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully we can get some people from different time zones on to see that. If you didn't attend one of the masterclasses that I did a few weeks ago, this is a chance to jump on board again. I'll put the link down below so you can register. And of course, even if you can't come live, you can still register and see the replay of that too. So I don't know, is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't know. I'm just happy to see you guys. Thank you for joining me today. And it's been, you know, something I look forward to all day, to just pop on and you know, just say hello, happy Sunday, and hopefully everybody's, you know, starting to do some of these protocols. And, you know, comment below if you've been dabbling or, you know, delving into it, and let me know what's coming up for you. And, you know, I'm always here to answer a question if you have some questions that pop up as you're trying to implement. So I love you all very much. And I hope that, you know, things are going well for you. And I hope that you're starting to see yourself in a new way, because you guys can all do this. I did it. If I can do it, you can do it. You know, where one person proves that it can be done, then it just shows you that it's possible. So that's all we have to do. If, you know, as in the words of Henry Ford, if you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you are right. So anyway, I love you guys. Happy Sunday. And I'll see you in the group, and hopefully at the masterclass on Saturday. All right, take care.